At the end of 20th of August 2026, yeah, the story be bramo for BOLGA Girls Senior High School. Yeah, school nearby will be within 14. And I just said security guards on more school more. Back was 72 na back 38. And it's our school nearby way. Akwakoda. You catch them say a train GES for statement. Statement, you know, and I need Saso, and a family law aspect. I can come and a specialist. I just say or share and kwala school nearby way. The condition or effect and so I can come on, which I think say ebeboa in this particular video. Obinya daje ahwe meso so be near subscribe button so that click the bell notification icon. So me gusu akai mo se nyakopon ya adma 22nd of August. Saturday 22nd of August 2026 and a onga for Jollof Fest no. Eba so e wala Palm Royal Beach Hotel. It me so Eliano Mubi Edward pay comment am I responded. It appears about 4 to 6 people penny to me. I get it back to us. But the number no in here 050 185 9149 050 185 9149. Obetimi WhatsApp is our number we so person what any event never happen or channel flyer on that screen. So obetimi send a DM to Onga Ghana for our Instagram on the mouth tickets no AB. But go straight for the ticket I want and I hear the amount. So text number now on sa Ebeka ticket no me join here. Our Jollof Fest na Onga for organizer. Never come on so. At the end of the story bremo for BOLGA Girls Senior High School. So school nearby will be already in Fiedu 9. And I just say security for me no I just more school more afasa school nearby way and another security odi kind and the school nearby way the call canteen the chiwan mo koye the pasa security otos me no die school nearby way ko charge a tablet or security post hono and ono so nya ho kwan the pasa so it appears bia security odi kind no ekodi adanse a che de otos me no and omomie ni na no afa school nearby way school nearby way reports here Emma Dina or school muho Emma chess or muji school nearby way no masem interdict security guards and omo investigate asem no and omo de letter by say school nearby one no GES omo code of conduct for pre-tertiary institutions no HSS school nearby we be on staff bedding kita wodie bia no and as school ni whether by one na say be mu on staff beyen bia no or ye liable and also you're guilty of misconduct and as sexual offense misconduct inside the panel you bet to be the board nice no into school nearby you when you know for boarding house no more catch and say uncle fie into ofifie and a baba school our BOLGA Girls Senior High in the bush of furniture what you be ana amount here into a modern police for you involved in the school in bush of family so my report here no at the police force so it was on the 19th of August and August 24 your feedback say Ghana police service for arrested security officers me about 72 and about so our 38 years on picture now who was screening so no and they catch them say a train GES statement and finally GES statement you know hasi now GES statement you know management of GES no at incident now happen here our BOLGA Girls Senior High School I just say Watchmen for bienu and they do is our name now in fact report has better when him say students here was special needs or they draw so na dey no cry incident no happen here Watchmen for any students no ho kwan na students no go through one of the moments no based due to the condition no enti and we take advantage any students no the omo na no now as initial step no Watchmen for no omo arrest omo e the omo police for say police for enko so a enyom investigation management so I interdict Watchmen for no na GES for still and go through the necessary processes and exhaust all channels available in the eyes of the law. And after so the GES code of conduct say they be to me are bringing the perpetrators to book. Now omo catch staff and after so omo can be so make sure some maintaining safety, dignity and well-being of every single student. Omo fa no ensure mo kotodiem normal finance. So most GES asenko ade on be holdi sign number we in high esteem. But yes, we are here. So what does the law say? And obikura was our condition we mono. Say ni si a manager assembly say esifa. And the end was say ye e school. But I bet say if a law no. It's any lawyer. Say or an expert in family law. Kwa kwa twetwe enkomo. It's enya lawyer Kofi Oti Edinkra Junior. Chese lawyer, a lawyer be our well versed in family law on a Telecrib associates and I just say on your more Eddie Juma Wabing a woman ye pine to the right person. I bet to me in that train come away. Lawyer Dinkra Mark about GOS 24 so.
Me da say me patrol me friend Taylor Crab barristers and solicitors.
Okay, Taylor Crab barristers and solicitors. Lawyer.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Inti yes has in free her right. First of all, security officers no baako or 72, baako or 38 or more ages no. And then as to the number of times or more year it hasn't been made clear. Right, say be as to the number of times, or 3 times, 4 times, it hasn't been made clear. But what has been made clear, no, from Aquilano reports or them are dean, no, our school no more, and it say, omo de Adriane, any sika, and I just say, yana, omo de mano, any idea, no, na first one, no, happen here behind the dining hall, and the second one, happen here, our security post, no, and the school now, yes, so far, no, and it say, omo handy. Security officers no and as security guards no over to the police and now students no in this case no based on GES code of conduct for students no taking disciplinary actions against students no say students no are already 14 no are involved in the sexual misconduct sexual offense and I just say are students no in this case. Is it right?
Okay, first of all, the Mecca first is very important. It's very important. Say, we have to make something very clear. I will say I can't do it first. And found say, or mine once, or mine twice, or mine 3 times.
Yeah.
As far as the law is concerned, for something like this, the offense is established from only one action.
Okay.
And once and I will students are 14.
Yeah.
Below 16, you cannot give consent to sex.
Mm-hmm.
In yes. So with this 16 and above, I can say rape.
Okay.
Because with this 16, Emrane say you can give consent to sex. So ubetimi peneso. So one penny. No, you're above 16. I'll bet me I can rape. But once you're 16 and below,
so penny, yes, 1 penny.
Exactly. So a penny, you 1 penny. Once or less than 16, and Rani say, in fact, she doesn't have capacity. So okay. Peneso.
Okay.
And so oka or the nano a catcher or say, oh, bra, yenye baby. Now so say okay, yenye. And Rani there. 0 1 country.
Okay.
Because I'm running to onim the oka.
Okay, so
capacity.
technically, no, oka wahano say only voice. So you're below 16 are only voice.
Only voice.
Okay.
Only voice at all. Only voice at all. And once once it is established, say or is 16 and below. So for now, there are reports.
Yes, all 14. Yeah, 14. Confirmed.
So with the 14, only voice out there because woman baby. It's not. It's legally impossible.
Okay.
And he said, "It is ampara. I mean, if it is true, say watchmen and then other security men and then other." Then technically, Ono is a victim. Students, a victim
of Monato.
Or a victim of Monato.
Okay.
Or a victim. And going from there, you deny no so I'll be who say Obi a victim.
Yeah.
Yam punishment. Untimen punishment. And for now, if the reported steps, they're about out to school now, young fan say school school now any day student. First,
Yes.
no your border.
Yes, school no letter
School
or
na
whatever,
any
you know. HS after my investigations, I conclude say or you guilty of some misconduct way in and umujina so I any day students.
So now there are two issues there.
Yeah.
There are two issues there. And see, number one say I said how the American earlier no. I've already said say in an issue like this, you should be seeking say overprotect your
interest.
In a certain sense, no. To me, say if say Oshana uyi no free boarding house ebe boana. To me, I can say you are taking the right steps.
Okay.
But uyi no free boarding house because Osha or you guilty of something a honor and shedanye clear. It's a gray area. In fact, I say that may not be the best decision to take because and no trust you are punishing the child, not protecting the child. And see, or no or your victim, no, in my view, no, from the allegations, no, it looks like on Akolano a victim. And it will be a victim. So normally they or a victim they are punishing.
You're protecting.
You're protecting. And see, as long as the action of removing her from boarding house, no, once we mean free boarding house, no. So you need a free boarding house because say oh you guilty. Then there could be a problem there. Of course, school the Umbeka said they are complying with
GES code of conduct. Yeah, exactly. That's what the report says.
Code of conduct.
Yeah,
and things like that. That GES code of conduct, you know. One thing I was saying say code of conduct, policy, direction, whatever it's a share emrana say.
Okay.
And he said Ghana yasheshe emrana through parliament. Parliament emra shi bidwa. And he said if they come out with the law, now your institution and I say baby I wanna. Also, so here our rules and regulations. Now it's here, Emrana. It's here, their parliament. Like I say, it's here, constitution. There, oh dear no. I was say oh dear no. A folly off. It cannot override.
Okay.
The main. It can override the law and answer the constitution.
Okay. Okay.
GES code of conduct, I have not looked in it. Maybe I don't know the exact wording of it. I don't know the exact content.
So permit me, I can the exact wording in the code of conduct. No, if you permit me,
okay.
Permit me, I can.
No
right.
Problem.
Section 2.16. About sexual offences.
Okay.
No, must say it shall be a misconduct for any student so be engaging in such relations. So, B. Interaction between students in obscure places at all times constitute an offense under this section. C. No student shall directly or indirectly do anything constitute say or be harass or be was sexual way. And then D. Say student be condone such offenses school or condone tantamount to and I say contrary to can say in line with misconduct. Sorry, not contrary. In line with misconduct. E. Say guideline for prevention of pregnancy or GES or more facilitating re-entry into say students be enyama or more never go through sa guideline or under GES provisions of making. And then F. Obi or victim of monatobia entitled to counseling and if it's on guide decide accordingly. J. Almost a student be finding the guilty. Say what two obi munabiano a constitute gross misconduct. Now H no and digina so can say girl guilty of. And then the H says that it shall be a misconduct for any student to be involved in sexual relations with any member of staff. Any such misconduct shall not be waived with the reason that the misconduct took place outside the school compound or within an alleged or with an alleged parental or guardian consent. Inti H no, eno mujina so, ekaye, say, or you're guilty of misconduct, hence dismissal. However, from omo observation, no, students on a challenge into omo recommended, so munya no a day student for 1 academic year.
Okay. And see, the last we now kind of, and the last piece of information on my mind, very, very important.
Yeah.
Students, apart from the fact that or below 16, or sans or disability.
Yeah.
Or sans or challenge.
Yeah.
And see, investigation we are not aware of your own report.
Yeah.
And see, all of this, it is, I'm being very measured. I was able to remember. First of all, in fact, all the various rules now kind under 2.1.
Yeah.
Most of them are suggested. It's the way I here. A lot of them are geared towards interactions between students and other students.
Yes.
But in this particular case, it is about an interaction between students, any obia or what position of trust.
Yeah.
And responsibility. Because when you're security there, you are even supposed to protect the students.
Of course.
Well, now you can go back to the law itself.
Mm-hmm.
And we are talking about the fact that students only capacity grandpa or the consent to sexual interaction.
That's true.
And in fact, two students will be 13, and 14.
Yeah.
But we know, back a security member back with the 70 BB, back with the 30 BB.
Yeah.
In fact, they can be the students' fathers.
Yeah. 70, 20, 38.
Yes, and see, it is not. It's from where I stand. Me feel say, and it's simple, sir.
Okay.
On top of the fact, say akwadano or sanso challenge. And see, the act of removing her from boarding house. You need free boarding. I am day students. Of course, me are limited because me need. Investigation reports, and I don't know the details. I sure they name their own investigation reports anymore. But until say me who be to be satisfied, say every boarding house because under the circumstances, or no, sure or no, native, the way or disability, the way or some challenge, on top of the fact that below 16, it is best to remove her from the boarding house. So me who be beside there, okay, no problem. But once it is about being guilty of misconduct, I know I have a problem with this kakra.
Okay. And
in my view, if we test it against the law, there can be some challenges.
Okay. Eti say ebusuani itiwa, what would you recommend say they do? Because in the letter we school need them on the 20th of July, and it was until NRA and a Ghana Police Service for it to me arrest a nipa me after say news ne ebeda abonte any ade so say ebusuani itiwa, what would be advice to the family? I'm sure they are watching this video.
Okay, and the first thing I can say, Akwadano has the right to be treated as a victim.
Okay.
That's the first thing I make. And number one, the family, they have a right. So, in fact, before this interview, said you're arresting Crawford. The last time a friend is a story, there was no report said they had been arrested.
Yes. And GES for the command more confirm my say they have been arrested, and truly they have.
Okay, because in Kameka, so the first thing, the family, they can report the matter to the police. Yeah. Because the school investigation or more, their processes, and no and stop it police and stop it criminal prosecution as a criminal investigation. I know your first one. It's CC and you're reporting my investigation is going on and what's not. First one, the family don't have a right to be kept informed. Say at every stage, my family know who the air cost.
Okay.
That's one. Two, family now so no. They may have a civil action. Into what I mean by civil action is a woman say, when I told you, say no a criminal.
Yeah.
But apart from criminal, no, you were the friend of civil rights, and as a civil action.
Okay.
And no. Ube to me, Eddie be a court say, why me be, and as why ye be a mention so we do a collide in common a family now, they will start the action or not at the same level court and say because of the city the ombetimaka say look, environment now colani woman the way you keep your environment and a chance ya to apolane muna and as ya see and as ya see. And because of that, court entry say school knows say individual say kwana yen nipa kro na so na ye mani ntie sika usually your friend taught civil wrong their friend taught.
Okay.
It's a thought when you court to show that they've injured you. They've injured you into sika to compensate you for the injury.
Okay.
I know in civil, I know the only thing I call is a court will look at them, but now they will order damages. Damages in the usually is sika. If you trouble ama nipa crowd in a court is own here. And no and I work criminal and so the two can go on at the same time.
Okay.
The two can go on. That's just a usually in Crawford train I'm a civil case, a criminal case.
Every answer.
Abe, area. Omunya judgment in the civil case, of course, because okay, we default. If in Crawford, we default. Now what just our judgment? No, now of course civil court, how they acquire evidence.
Okay. Council, you better was say, and more, and Nimdia on the Ababeche, and the Ria name me. Nyankopon shall.
Oh, I said
Nyankopon shall. Therefore, for a best also Afro be Madaroma. It's like I said, this conversation, three parts, right? Yenya GES, Diano, I just said, and then we've had the legal side, and I promised, so we'll be bringing a specialist. And on the line, Madam, and I said, Mrs. Stella Mwako. Se me ni kunu di chem or me senior man what I say but me nka mo bebe me ka wo hwe no e die me no Mrs. Stella Mako developmental intervention specialist I just say no the founder and CEO of Skyrain Therapy more into early interventions any at the but no this conversation I believe says she's the best person I bet to me and Eddie come about this story out there. Inti Mastella, Yamaka Baba Gossip 24 so.
I'm very happy to be part of the show. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Clement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for answering my call. So first off, may I show you story, if perhaps one show August 24 so you have a preview of the entire situation, the report out there so far, the statement from GES, the letter, the background story, the arrest and what have you. As a specialist, what say you say story akwala no ye involved you be or such a condition what was the first thing that came in mind? How do you see the entire situation like?
Article Clement Maria Hoye and and I got scared, right? As a therapist, is the worst nightmare for every parent. Special needs this is one of the things that keeps you up at night. So God forbid if they fall into the wrong hands, what will happen? Into me article no. In fact, I am a yama kwalano and I am a young man, the parents they said worst nightmare men to me about reality.
So basically that's how you felt. But So the story ne che say akwala no na omoto aduane ma no ene ade. Do you think say is it right for us to say omo take advantage of the condition no and I said is it right to say me say am yele man no say me kasa
you can say they took advantage of the child because really akolana who said na adwene wɔ fam. Excuse my friend Seman Kasani ya. And also who said betimi the baby keto bi manipulating no. I'm not giving in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact in the class said you read the article now you who said autism was
yeah.
One of the first thing that came to mind is said the differences.
Okay.
Children on the spectrum, our children, they are so innocent.
Okay.
And they are sort of in their own world.
Okay.
So they don't have the pre-notion say papa all cassette me charge me tablet na me aduane no me koi time ya me dey yes the mind doesn't process like that. Papa no money no more and no mashada and they chose to take advantage of this innocent girl who, by the time
because from the GES statement, one thing omokaye and they say akwala no it was right, but another thing they say on the day of the incident, no muchema students no suffer a relapse. That is say ohia medical attention. Does it ever get to that stage for obi or such a condition? Say obinya relapse be does it get to that stage? Maybe because me ignorant to the situation, and maybe so what we're expecting.
Okay, so for lack of better words, no, since we all don't know the situation of the child, no, we do know that our children on the spectrum have what we call regression, right?
Okay.
They understand the concept. They seem to be doing good. Regress it, then they are going back into whatever the reasons, even if you read to me, FE progress, I know it all making known to me and make it be. And to a bit to me, I said, as part of even being in school and being inclusion, therapy for the child, no. But because of your autistic, no, there can definitely be a regression going on. Ni really even crown for routine, and they be oh yeah. A bit real crowd bit to me if he said teacher for Eddie Carbon said ebi amen ko ha men wura ha men nya asum anwumrebo se amen ko charge phone wa ha men ko yesi men ko esan because say omo whole life no it's always repetition needs to be reminded no it can definitely be a regression or even for lack of better words no relapse where a clan new be fit and yam omodi egu akwemo omodi acheche na eboa to allow her to be in inclusive school. It's possible.
Na say woka say new betumi efi no. Then how should investigators or more asemimu in their quest to unearth the truth, no? How should they go about their investigation? Because can't it ever happen? Say, of course, akrana reporting incident, no, edema din no to me can the woman the chair din no boss say another person eka homa year too, right? Moving forward, maybe I pay evidence near there. Yeah, on restarting cycle nibium, maybe an rain fee, post a man I can't say.
Ni rain fee because Clement said me kai article ni ya. And I stand to be corrected. Say Encofona Watchmen for no magia to Muse and Passa as a maybe says here.
And there were police phones him.
Okay. And what we talk about say ni refino. Yes, ni refi say incidents ne see no. But like Enyama omudi egu akwan mu a ma church akwala no.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Be a guess a man ko say be a time where so a man ko charge you phone short memory of things that has been taught. But say incidents are there, I not there. You know, God is so good. Say it is sometimes only a non-verbal child crana say as them tona they have a way of showing you and letting you know that something has happened to them. And for a child to be in inclusion, no, that means that she have a higher intelligence, you know. And when we talk about autism, no, say and sometimes and yet lack of intelligence and also intellectual ability and your social skills now you're working on it. Send you well who say anadria papa for your friend me demakoshe corner way there. Those are the things that we give therapies on.
Okay.
Wrong. They have common sense to most people. No social interaction, social communication, social cues. No, papa baby or the that's most of the things that we work on. So for the girl to say Clement, and it didn't rain feet. I know you can't trust on to also.
Okay. Okay. Social interventions near the no. Does it mean say there is a huge gap our institutions about education our Ghana has say bia ye free sign your manage because ebia akwala idea na wetumi ebie na no aka perhaps there are other incidents elsewhere ibia happen any idea is it that you pay attention and I say when our system nimo it is saying
okay so yeah fortunately about Ghana no we realize that a lot of children who have special needs, no, people intend to take advantage of them, and the behavior towards repercussion is very dismissive, right? And I know your call seminar or Ghana surgery of a lady B80 she invited me on the platform. And this lady shared her story about how you're autistic. Obia rape ne bano.
oh
Ama now you know. Ne nana no so awo no so autistic. Ne nana no so obia fan.
oh
So anya ne maame ne pen obi fan no ne nana no so crowd ne bano wo no so autistic no so obia fan ne nya.
oh
And the lady did not go to no police, no nothing. And all she was crying about was how much you hear more.
people are
And
wicked,
even that, Clement, even at the meeting, the crown, nobody said, "Oh, let's help this lady find the perpetrator." Or you know, or they said they felt sorry for her. And they trying to find resources and funds for her to be able to take care of her daughter and her grandchild, right? See, Ghana, there's a huge gap. Man, Clement, it's very sad. And now I was thinking about it, right? Having a special needs child alone is a very, very challenging and emotional and physical thing. But having a special needs in Ghana is a whole different thing. Because even the society itself, Krano, they don't allow you to be comfortable to raise a child. I took a parent to look for a school for their child. Question na school owner ni busa no kran san or identity akwalano. It wasn't easy. So when it comes to our part of the world, Nidia, it still needs to be a lot of awareness. It still needs to be education. And Clement, my main kabibi.
Yeah.
One who said, not me read the article, no, say, oh my quality day student, no.
Yeah.
It kind of broke my heart. Right? This girl, she was violated, and then she has to be punished for somebody taking advantage of her. Or learning how to social cue, to make friends, to interact, to learn. As I said, be a day student.
Almost say, okay. Though acknowledge say disciplinary action. Almost one of the reasons in Suntia man a day student because it's because of the day student, right? It is because say we know also offer na eduro no onfa. Enti no musu say eno so no though take a disciplinary action against akwala and also be boa akwala na fa na eduro no.
Okay, Clement, that means a school no need school nurse or I find say akola ne kwa na onfa na edura. Into school no say omuni first aid will school mu in case of emergency. There is a friend said a doctor or a nurse in the school to give first aid. Because if that's the case, they are and Kakolano call. So school nurse or school man and school nurse into me remind the Akolan say a boss so and so has see a brand before do.
What can I say? I mean, you've made a valid point. So at least school nurse not crying a bit me place our role and say
and say no, yeah, you school nurse in every home. And one who said it's already hard for this child to be a special needs child. She has fought hard to be inclusion. Or do baby also calling him so I say well drawing into me my own yasa. So in Ghana we have a long for inclusion. For when you read the articles, it talks about how there's no discrimination. No school can separate any child or discriminate or not take any child based on their disability. But there are open clause where allow schools to be able to say yeah, my woman. And one of this, and even on the area kalana. And to school no be any only school nurse. Only health personnel school to me remind the to take the medication. This kid is not even required for therapy. The school did not even say the psychologist to overcome the emotional trauma that she went through, to let her understand that it's not acceptable for anybody to take advantage of you. You know how upsetting this is, this 78-year-old and this 72 and 38-year-old man.
Yeah. Because
you want to catch I said, I now you know women not then too so to me now
that means that you can hear and recommend them as the other.
So look at the trauma this child is going through. They didn't no referral for psychology or nothing psychologist.
Omoka somebody referring to guidance and counseling units for counseling. That alone is not enough.
Just after the story became public and you are reporting it and other people are reporting it, anything on this animal where you go said the system is working already to see or this animal you go because some of this animal you go Clement and fret or for salad and on phone come
yeah, I understand. And saying to what say we just a cliche. Perhaps it's not. They are not even enforcing it. Or when you're sure say Akran company go through SAR counseling, but for a child like that, I will go through something of the sort. Now, how would you have managed it? Let's say post incident, right? A C, or we take advantage. And brano, the microphone befa a quine sober aqualana casano a dear a human account be gua quim one as which we did gua quim aqualano.
Akulane de ohia therapy of what is social acceptable and what is socially not acceptable. Mom said what breaks hearts for many parents. They say there's so much you can teach your child, especially when they are on the spectrum. There's so much thing you can educate them on because you don't know where they will go, that they will find themselves, and where as a parent you cannot be able to save them. So now that this has happened, she needs therapy to be knowing what's right and what's wrong. When somebody says something, what is allowed and what's not allowed. Okay. And then yet 1 month, and yet 2 months, and yet 3 months, at least it needs to go on for a long time. By that, said there's also a lot of delay somewhere, lack of understanding somewhere that needs to be addressed. And psychology, psychologists needs to come in and therapy needs to come in to help this girl understand what is acceptable and what is not acceptable.
Okay, now beyond Akwalai, I think my a lot of your time, but beyond Akwalai, Yenfa just an individual case, right? Yenfa the whole education system, no your Ghana has it again. And I'm moving forward. No GES schools or Ghana has a bit to me. Aye, they are boa and Kwalabi to say Akwalaya can was in for BOLGA Girls Senior High School. So they are more finding themselves in such a situation. At the end, a bit to me. Aye.
I think, Clement, thank you for the question. and it's something that is on my heart. I would say Ghana education, also. And also, we have the government needs to be accountable.
Okay.
In providing services. Okay. We need services in our schools. We need services. We work as a services now, and the all kinds of service actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, therapy, occupational therapy, and as a speech therapy. Yeah, psychologist, and kakra. Yeah, facilitators. Yeah, obeba sensory breaks. So yeah, crowd. So school bia bia to say, omudu GES hawk on the crowd. I say school bia bind to me any. No more school bia therapist. Bako and think can Kolano crowd offer Bibi Museno, who will be to me seeking for 30 minutes. 1 hour. Anna said almost only private schools from younger age,
Yeah.
Maybe I might to making a mandatory say. I will say school be a therapist. Because Clement, when we talk about delay in Ghana, oh my Lord. It's very much visible, and there's nothing that's being done about it. And one thing I love Ghana for, we have so much knowledge, and yet so until say they never go aquam. Kakre be a young Ghana for me. Ya won't to me be I will see the therapy. The go aquam say I am Kwalanke Twana no muhia speech or tea or say I am early intervention no say penny phone somebody has psychiatrist to swap. Young from go aquam and dear baby to me. What the next generation near dismissive about mental health beyond or see the go aquam.
I will say the go akwemu eno na Mastella Amwako the Aban Mastella Amwako developmental intervention specialist in Abideka Kaino or the CEO and founder of Skyrain Therapy. Skyrain Therapy no more Ghana Hasi or more Ghana ha which I show with Chakwai on social media handles or more contacting Abidia good screen no and so now we are involved in early intervention or more seminars, training and the account myself. And my sa case we inquire name all the schools say no kind right a buying more fun go for say you understand these people they have the knowledge oma in the West oma US Europe near there I'm sure that there are lots of people like Madam Stella Mwako out there who are willing to help the system, and so far there's Skyrain and medium be privy to. If there are others out there, they can all reach out to government and what have you, so that you bet me abwa you no more such conditions. Now more to say security for your more baga honum and take advantage of them. Mastella, yeah, that's a view.
Thank you so much, Clement.